Greetings, terrestrials, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. I, of course, am Cliff McCallister, the czar of the bizarre. Every week here on Strange Times Indeed, we take your calls from you, the viewer, as a public service to hear about the strange and unexplainable encounters you may have had out in the world, be it encounters with spirits, be it encounters with extraterrestrials, be it encounters with interdimensional beings, or things that you just can't quite explain. This is a safe space to call in and share those with us tonight and every Thursday at 9 o'clock here on twitch.tv/metcomedynight. I, of course, am Cliff McCallister, and you are watching Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Now, tonight, right off the top, we've got some pretty big news coming out of the world of pop music. That's right, we've got not one, but two sightings of extraterrestrials by two separate pop stars. Now, the first, and perhaps the least notable of the sightings, comes from Miley Cyrus, the Hannah Montana herself. Now, she was speaking with Interview Magazine recently, and she said that she had an experience, actually. She was driving through San Bernardino with a friend and got chased down by some sort of UFO. She describes the craft as a sort of flying snowplow, and it had a big plow in front of it, and it was glowing yellow. That's right, Miley Cyrus, accosted by snowplow driving extraterrestrials. She said that during this experience, the creature piloting the craft looked at her and they made eye contact. She says, I think that's what really shook me, looking into the eyes of something I couldn't quite wrap my head around. Now, this instance in and of itself is pretty interesting, but it's got nothing on our good friend Demi Lovato. Now, Demi Lovato recently shared some UFO sightings on her Instagram page. I messaged her privately today. I tried to get her on the show, and who knows, maybe she'll call in. We're not giving up on Demi yet. Here's what my message said in full disclosure to the fans out there of the world. I sent Demi Lovato this offer. I said, hi, Demi. I don't know if you'll read this, but what's wrong with being confident? I run a weekly paranormal call-in show on Twitch called Strange Times Indeed, where anyone can call in and share their experiences with the unexplained. It's a comedy show, but we treat our guests and subject matter with respect because I truthfully love all manner of the bizarre. We have a show tonight at 9 p.m., and I would love to talk to you about your experience. We could be viewed by tens of people, but it's a fun place to share your story, and it looks like we are currently being viewed by tens of people now. Now, Demi Lovato took to Instagram. She has not replied to my message yet. It has not been marked seen, so it's hard to tell. Maybe she just doesn't have read receipts on, but it's possible she may be giving us the cold shoulder right now, but that's okay. We're still big fans of Demi Lovato here on the program, and we are going to be reading the information from her post. Stephen, if you could pull up the visuals of her post, the visuals that she shared on her page, we are going to be reading her caption right here because I think it's fascinating, the information that Demi Lovato is sharing with us, the public. Here's what she had to say regarding these sightings. And you can see there on the screen right here on this side, that little red blip. It's a UFO. I'm not sure if it's moving or if the video's playing. That might be a video. It's also got some normal pictures on it. Stephen will cycle through those as we go through what she said. She says, this is from Demi Lovato's own page, says, the past few days I've spent in Joshua Tree with a small group of loved ones and Dr. Stephen Greer and his Close Encounter 5 team. Over the past couple months, I have dug deep into the science of consciousness and experienced not only peace and serenity like I've never known, but I also have witnessed the most incredibly profound sightings both in the sky as well as feet away from me. As well as feet away from me. This planet is on a very negative path towards destruction. A very negative path towards destruction, but we can change that together. If we were to get 1% of the population to meditate and make contact, we would force our governments to acknowledge the truth about extraterrestrial life among us and change our destructive habits, destroying our planet. This is just some of the evidence from under the stars in the desert sky that can no longer be ignored and must be shared immediately. You see that right there on the screen? Right over here. To make contact yourself, you can download the CE5 app, and it will teach you the protocols to communicate to life forms beyond our planet. P.S. If it doesn't happen on the first try, keep trying. It took me several sessions to tap into a deep enough level of meditation to make contact. Happy communicating. Spinning heart emoji, prayer emoji. Now, Demi, if you are watching the show, this, of course, like I said, is a call-in show. We would love to talk to you more about your experience using the CE5 app, using the Close Encounters of a Fifth Kind method. If you could call in, we've got the link right there in the comments here on the show. So if you yourself have experienced something strange that you've got to share with us, you've experienced an extraterrestrial, a cryptid, an interdimensional being, a spirit, a specter, give us a call. We'd love to hear it. Go ahead and call that Zoom room. You don't have to be Demi Lovato. You could just be you don't have to be famous to call our show. Anyone can do it. Anyone can share their experiences. This is an open forum to speak to the Czar of the Bizarre about the things you can't quite get your head around. Miley Cyrus, if you're watching, you may call as well. Now, we're not going to get into this quite yet, because there's one other news story I'd like to talk about, but just a little tease for later on in the program. We have downloaded the CE5 app recommended to us by Miss Lovato. This app costs $9.99 in the App Store, and I betcha it's going to be worth every penny. So we will be discussing that and going through this app live on the air in just a little bit. But I want to talk about this big news coming out of the world of NASA. NASA has teased us. The little teases over at NASA have started talking about a big, exciting news regarding the moon. Something exciting is happening on the moon, but they will not tell us what it is. They do not want to speak to what is happening on the moon, but they are telling us there's exciting news about it. And they're going to tell us more about that Monday at noon. And if you want to watch that press conference live, you can follow me on Instagram at Strange Times Indeed. I'll be tuning in Instagram live. I'll pull it up there. We'll watch it together. But because NASA seems to think this exciting news is something that can wait, we're opening our phone lines tonight to speculation. If you've got your own thoughts about what you think NASA may be hiding up on the moon, their own big, secret, exciting news, if you've got information, speculation as to what you think it is, we encourage you to call in. We'll discuss your theories live on the air. And if you may work for NASA, perhaps you're a leaker of sorts. Perhaps you think this information ought to get out sooner, or if you think NASA's not telling the full story, give us a call. Hop onto that Zoom link and do that. Let's see. Send her a follow-up message letting her know it's 9 o'clock here. Well, it's 9 o'clock here, that's for sure. But if you mean letting her know it's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, well, guess what? I already did. So, Demi, if you are watching, please call in. If you've experienced something strange, please call in. And if you think you know what's happening up on the moon that NASA's not quite ready to tell us about, well, go ahead and give us a call, because we want to hear from you tonight on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Look, we've got some thumbs. We've got some thumbs popping up in the chat, and we've got one little sad face. We've got one little sad man in the comments. Poor, poor sad man. Now let's get into this app, the CE5 app, recommended to us by Miss Lovato herself. Now this is just from the intro page. We're going to be exploring this live tonight. I have not fully gone in depth into what is on the CE5 app, but here's the information just from the intro, just to get you hooked. Here it says, this app provides instructions and tools to assist you in making peaceful contact with extraterrestrial civilizations, as well as locating others in your area who are interested in making contact. Well, that's why we do this show, to get in touch with those in our area interested in making contact. So it sounds like this app itself will only be a boon to the service we provide here at Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Now, Stephen, of course, I am using the iPod. the iPad that I use to follow comments along in the show. So if anything pressing pops up in the comments, please let me know.
You got it, Cliff.
Thank you. Now, here's the background. Extraterrestrial contact is undertaken using Close Encounter 5 protocols, or CE5. CE5 stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Unlike the more passive Close Encounters 1 through 4 experiences, a Close Encounter of the Fifth Kind is human-initiated. Now, we're going to break down what each one is. Close Encounters of the First Kind are sightings of an extraterrestrial craft, something very simple. You see it flying up in the air, that's a Close Encounter of the First Kind. Close Encounter of the Second Kind is physical evidence of an extraterrestrial craft. Physical evidence, that could be perhaps materials from the craft itself, perhaps if there was a crash has happened and you find the ship, or perhaps a crop circle in and of itself, physical evidence of an extraterrestrial craft. Close Encounters of the Third Kind are sightings of the extraterrestrial life form. You have now gone beyond just seeing the craft, and you have seen the pilots, you have seen the crew, you have seen the creatures from beyond this world who brought this craft to us. Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind are experiences on board an extraterrestrial craft. These are your typical abductions, the things in which you are taken aboard a ship, and you have an experience with these creatures. The same things chronicled in the book Encounters by Dr. Edith Fiore, PhD, interviews with those who have experienced abductions done under hypnosis. Full transcripts of her experiences there. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show. We might turn it into a play one day. But now we get into the big thing, the big O. Right here, Close Encounters 5. Human-initiated contact with extraterrestrials. Now, why Close Encounter of the Fifth Kind? Experience has shown that extraterrestrial civilizations respond very favorably towards correctly applied Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind protocols, from playback of specific tones, followed by entering deep states of consciousness and awareness. As you practice CE5 with positive, peaceful intentions and your progress with meditation improves, you will find it becomes increasingly effective both individually and in a group setting. Then there's a big blue button that says Get Started, and I think we will. All right, now here's what we're looking at right here on the app. The first two options are networking, connect with others interested in making contact through Close Encounters 5, or contact, follow step-by-step instructions for making peaceful contact through Close Encounters 5. Now, you might remember last week, we talked about the fact that our current sitting president, this was a news story from last week. Our sitting president did acknowledge the existence of UFO crafts, but he also paired that with a threat of violence to extraterrestrial visitors. Now, this is not the way we can go about approaching these highly advanced beings who have come to us in a relatively juvenile stage of existence. Why, if we can't even travel beyond the moon, and they can come from galaxies away to us, and these are highly advanced things, whatever we got won't scratch the surface of what they have. The safest way to take care of encounters with these beings is through peaceful means, and that very, very well may be through CE5 and the techniques held within this app. We are going to look right into the contacts page. Here we go. If this is your first time using CE5 protocols for making contact, or if you'd like to refresh your memory on the process, it is highly recommended that you read through the CE5 guide. Please note that CE5 is a volunteer process. We have no certified teachers or official leaders. Further, no one is authorized to collect fees, with the exception of the Apple App Store. If this happens, it is without Dr. Greer's authorization or knowledge, and he is not receiving the money. We are not asking for money to share this information to you, but this is the guide. Here we go, the CE5 guide. This guide provides necessary background information for understanding and optimizing the overall Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind experience. It is recommended that you review all the topics below before beginning the CE5 process. Now, these topics to review include assembling a team, gathering equipment, finding a location, meditation, coherent thought sequencing, and things to look for. Now, this app features, here we go, we're looking at assembling a team. This is the first step. This app includes a feature for connecting with others interested in making contact through Close Encounter 5. If you don't already have a team for fieldwork, you can use the network section of the app to find individuals in your area. What a fun way to meet people, and perhaps meet people from beyond our world. Now, if you're interested in being a part of our team here on Strange Times Indeed, our Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind team, go ahead. We've got the Zoom link in the chat. We would like you to go ahead and join the call. We'll walk through a meditation together here on the show and see if there's any way we can make contact. Now, team dynamics, contact work can be done alone, like we may do tonight, or working with a group. Working with a group is ideal. If everyone is of a similar mindset, it can enhance the overall effectiveness of the experience. Now, many who have had interactions with extraterrestrials have reported psychic communications between themselves and the beings. And to initiate this on your own through this method could be a real reach into contacting those from beyond our world. We have put out a golden record that spins in space, playing music, hoping that people will find it on the radio waves, hoping that extraterrestrials from other planets will receive our signals, but so far none have responded. But why would they? Our own radio signals, like our own space technology, is likely to be juvenile compared to what they use to communicate. After all, if Demi Lovato has contacted extraterrestrials using telepathic methods and advanced meditation, then it's very likely that this may be the best way to reach them. Working with a group is ideal. And if everyone is of a similar mindset, it can enhance the overall effectiveness of the experience. Accordingly, if there's anyone who is fearful or apprehensive of extraterrestrial contact, their presence could very well detract from the group's effectiveness. The main thing to keep in mind, if a group is not collectively a good fit, it's best to form a different group. You can always start a new group. If your group doesn't work out, go ahead and start a new one. That's called improv. Extraterrestrial beings are very considerate of those who have fear or are otherwise not ready for them to manifest overtly, and as such, they will cater their presence to the least prepared member of the group. For this reason, it is usually best to gather no more than 6 to 8 people. You can use information from this guide to help educate those who are new to the subject. Ideally, you should also interview all prospective team members before doing fieldwork to ensure that no one is bringing predefined expectations, misinformation, or fear to the work. Now, we're going to skip some of these next steps, not in a means to avoid sharing information, but because this app did cost $9.99. And I don't want the app developers, I don't want the doctor responsible for putting this together to send us an angry email. In fact, if we give a good tease, maybe he'll come on the show with Demi Lovato and we'll talk about it all together. And maybe we'll have a meditation segment as a whole. Now, very interesting, just the other week on the show, we did a meditation and oh, wow, now this has a guided meditation on it. A meditation is central to making contact. It has been found that the realm of consciousness is common to all beings throughout the universe. As such, it can act as a safe and effective medium through which to initiate contact. You don't have to be experienced with meditation to be effective. The important thing is that you are sincere in your intentions to make peaceful contact, and that you can do your best to quiet your mind and relax your body. Experience has shown that extraterrestrial civilizations respond very favorably to sincere efforts on the parts of humans to enter into deep states of consciousness when making contact. Over time, you will become more adept at remaining free from distractions of the monkey mind and will find it easier to remain centered and pure consciousness. Don't force it. Don't try it too hard. Just like riding a bike, you will get better at it every time you do it. The recording below is an introduction to meditation. The role of consciousness is making contact, and the role of consciousness in making contact. The first 8 minutes Provide a general overview of the practice, followed by a sample guided meditation. For additional meditations, be sure to visit the library within this app. Oh, and we've got tones. This is just a look at what is in the library for the CE5 app, things that we may all explore together one day. Meditations, tones, alleged meteors, alleged satellites, orbs, electromagnetic phenomena, close proximity phenomena, other night phenomena, and intuitive photography. Now let's take a look. So these are collected things from other folks who have noted these various things and reported them into the app, it looks like. There are tones from crop circles. There are tones from Mount Shasta. There's a Fibonacci sequence of tones, and there's Dr. Greer's logo in 3D. Wow. Listen to that logo. Now that is fascinating stuff. We're going to do a little guided meditation of our own in just a minute. Let's go ahead and check the chat, see if anyone has chimed in with anything important to say. Well, it doesn't look like it. Those of you still watching, go ahead and throw any emoji in the chat, just because we like to see you here. We like to know you're with us here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Now, before we get to this guided meditation, our first initial attempt to interact with extraterrestrials telepathically or by other means, we are, of course, a call-in show. If you've experienced anything strange or unexplained, be it ghosts, extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, or cryptids, go ahead and give us a call. We'd love to hear your experiences on the show. You can talk about it with me, the Czar of the Bazaar. If you have information about what you think Mars might be hiding up on the moon that they are not telling us about and don't intend to tell us about until Monday, go ahead and give us a call. We'd love to hear your theories. Now, we are going to be moving on to this meditation in just a minute. I see you, the Stephen Craig. I see you, Barefoot in 52, commenting in the chat. Thanks for tuning in to us tonight. Of course, I see there are a couple more viewing who haven't commented. Thank you to everyone tuning in to Strange Times Indeed tonight with Cliff McCallister. I, of course, am your host, Cliff McCallister, the Czar of the Bazaar. Now, let's go ahead and get into this. We'll borrow Dr. Greer's tone, and we're going to hope this doesn't flag any copyright things. But what I'd love for us all to do here tonight, we're going to get on the same wavelength, everybody. Get ready. We are on the same wavelength. Let's connect our minds. Let's take a moment. Stephen, I see you. Very good. Now let's just lean back. Take a glance. Take a glance out that window. Wowee. Now look out. If you've got a window at home, go ahead and look out that window too. No better way to meditate than by taking in the stars. Now I want each and every one of you at home to take a moment, turn, look outside your window, quiet your thoughts. Breathe in. Breathe out. Think about the vast and expansive cosmos that lies just outside your window, that lies just overhead. A world of the unknown that you cannot quite tap into. A world with unanswerable questions that you are trying to find the answers to every Thursday at 9 o'clock when you tune in to Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Take a deep breath in. Let that deep breath go out. Take a deep breath in. Let that breath go out. Let's get a closer look at the stars, shall we? For you never know what might be up there in the vast expanse of the universe. Now I want you all sitting at home to picture, if you would, an extraterrestrial, a being from a planet other than our own, something indescribable, Whatever you have thought it looks like, whatever you have seen in pop culture, try to picture something else, something different, something totally unknown, something brand new to you, an unknown creature. Whatever that may look like, whatever that may be, conjure it within your mind. For that is who we are trying to contact. Picture it making direct eye contact with you. You are making direct eye contact with this extraterrestrial being, a being of a higher existence and a being capable of communicating to you telepathically. Have you said hello? Have you initiated contact? Well, if not, what are you waiting for? Greet the creature before you. Welcome it to your planet. You know there are some things that are going quite poorly, but there are also some good things. Think about the good things in your life, the nice things you have experienced, the things that make you happy, the things that bring you joy. And tell this creature about them. This is your case for humanity. This is your case for the goodness within us all. When we have a world leader who may seek to threaten these creatures, these beings, it is up to you to let them know that we humans are generally a kind group of people. Share your experiences in life with this extraterrestrial being. Tell it about your friends, about your family, the hardest time you've laughed. Saying hello to a loved one for the first time in months. How nice that must be. How nice it might be to give someone a kiss, or to go dancing, or to go for a ride in the car with the windows down, the wind in your hair. Think about those wonderful things, and don't just think them, tell them. Tell this extraterrestrial creature about them. Let them know that we are contacting them in peace, and that we hope to maintain a peaceful coexistence with their kind. Now, make eye contact with the creature as you have hopefully sustained throughout the time. Say, I've had a pleasant chat with you and hope to learn more soon. But I must continue watching Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister every Thursday at 9 o'clock on twitch.tv/MetComedyNight. And I will talk to you soon. Give it a farewell greeting, whatever may seem most appropriate to you in your interaction with this being. Perhaps it is a hug. Maybe it's a little kiss. Maybe it's just a handshake. Maybe it's just a wave, and that's all right. Bring yourself steadily back into our own world. Take a deep breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. Make your way back into reality as we know it. And we will return for Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister after a quick break. We'll be taking your calls. We'll be hearing about dreams. Maybe we'll get to the bottom of what NASA's up to. But we'll see you in just a second. Don't change that dial. We'll return shortly here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Greetings, terrestrials. This is Cliff McCallister, host of Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister on twitch.tv/MetComedyNight. Did you know the vast majority of interactions with extraterrestrials, cryptids, and interdimensional beings occur outside the home? That's why we're encouraging you to take part in the Maryland Ensemble Theater's Sweat for Met 5K, occurring October 23rd through 25th. You've got to get out of the house at some point, and it's time you look to the skies and experience something truly bizarre. A virtual 5K happening anytime, any place, between October 23rd and 25th. Register today, October 7th, and get a free t-shirt. This is the last day to get the free t-shirt, so you gotta register now. Head over to MarylandEnsemble.org for more information And remember, we support the Maryland Ensemble Theater because they're the only theater that has the guts to put us on the air. Greetings, terrestrials. Welcome back to Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Just a little while ago, we discussed the CE5 app coming from Demi Lovato. We've got some comments in the chat. We've got CT Schultz saying he's feeling great after that meditation. And we've got a comment here from Barefoot and 52 says, is Stephen tuning in from Iceland? I can see the northern lights. Stephen, is that where you are broadcasting? Are you doing our technical direction from that location?
Iceland, no. However, these northern lights are actually a disco light that I have in my really cheap floor lamp light. It right there, and it also shines a bit on the other wall. Yeah.
Well, that's positively psychedelic. Now, right before we got here, I don't know if you were listening, but we just ran this PSA for the Sweat for Met 5K. Now, every program, every episode of Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister is dedicated to the Maryland Ensemble Theater because they're the only theater that has the guts to put us on the air. And so they are doing a 5K this weekend, a virtual 5K, October 23rd through 25th. I believe you can still sign up. Even if it starts tomorrow, you can run anywhere, anytime. Help support the theater, helps keep shows like ours, important truth-telling shows that might feature special guest Demi Lovato one day, keeps us on the air until we reach that goal. And even after we reach that goal. Don't think we're going to end the show just because Demi Lovato shows up. It seems like that'd be a good time to keep it going. Now they are also, this is the big thing they have this week. It's Them and Us, a 5K and Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Now that's some exclusivity I can get behind. Makes me feel like one of the real important parts of the Maryland Ensemble Theater. Doing this show every single week. Really pulling our weight around here, that's for damn sure. Now let me tell you what, they've also got a bi-weekly 4-part series called Victory is Within Our Grasp. The final part of that goes up next week. These are monologues from the women's suffrage movement. So you can go ahead and check that out on their website. Go to marylandensemble.org/victory. And if you'd like to just support the theater for putting our show on the air, you'd like to give them a little thank you, head over to marylandensemble.org/donate. Now, looking in the chat, we've got a comment here from Barefoot in 52. He says, Cliff, I heard that Neil deGrasse Tyson is saying that a refrigerator-sized asteroid could hit Earth by November 2nd. Well, it's hard to tell if that's good news or bad news because it really depends on the events of November 3rd. As we know, there is one person currently, and for those of you who are watching the show, those 5 of you who are watching, I assume that you are the decided voters of America because as many of you may be aware, there is a debate tonight. There is a debate happening between Joe Biden, the Democratic nominee for president, and President Donald Trump, the current Republican president of the United States. They are debating to see who will become the next president. This is happening right now, which I assume is why we've only got 5 viewers tonight, because the rest of you are probably undecided. Now, it's hard to think, how could I be undecided at a time like this? And those 5 of you who are viewing, you've got to figure it out. And you know what? Props to you, because here's the thing. Because we are part of a nonprofit entity, we can't make any official endorsements here on Strange Times Indeed, but I will say this. There is one candidate out there who has already threatened violence against extraterrestrial beings. And as Demi Lovato has told us, this is not the way to go. We must seek to make peaceful contact. And this is something we have preached on the show prior to Demi's postings on Instagram. And there is one other candidate who has not said either way whether he's for or against violent interactions with extraterrestrial beings. But I think perhaps it's better. Well, I can't say anything else. But think about that for when you go to the voting booth in the coming weeks. Here we go. Stephen Craig says, that was a very comforting meditation. I feel like I made a friend. Well, that's so nice, Stephen. Stephen, you know what? Let's go ahead and bring you back on. Now, as some of you may know, not only do I listen to and hear people's experiences with the explained, the extraterrestrials, the cryptids, interdimensional beings, ghosts. We've heard some very incredible ghost stories on our show, but I also offer dream interpretation on this program. As a public service, if you've had strange dreams you can't quite explain, well, this is where we talk to Stephen. Well, we could talk to you too if you've got a strange dream, but Stephen has been working very hard at unlocking the secrets to lucid dreaming. He's got a dream journal. He's keeping hard work, keeping good track of what is going on out in his dreams. And we listen to them on the show, we interpret them. Stephen, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling really good.
Mhm.
And you know what? Why don't everyone go ahead and ask yourself if you're dreaming? Am I dreaming?
Am I
Check
dreaming?
your hands, see if they look normal. Maybe try and poke a hole through your hand.
And this is the technique that you use during the day when you are fully conscious.
Do a light switch. So this light switch is working. In your dream,
Alright.
it might not work. So if you're doing some things like this, naturally constantly asking yourself the question, in your subconscious while you're dreaming, you'll ask yourself the question, and you'll realize you're dreaming and hopefully not wake up, and you can kind of control it. So, oh, we got some chat going on here.
Barefoot52 says Demi Lovato started out on the Barney Show. And C.T. Schultz here with an incredible accusation. Kellyanne Conway is an extraterrestrial. That's why her marriage works. Kellyanne Conway, famed Republican strategist for the Donald Trump campaign, and married to George Conway, Republican grifter and owner of the Project Lincoln program.
Wow. Well, that's one
I
way
guess
to get
he's a
marriage to work.
Democrat. He's a Democrat grifter. And that's why their marriage is so strange. But since she's an extraterrestrial, maybe it could be that George Conway, much like John F. Kennedy, is a noted starfucker. Sorry to use that language without the warning, but of course that is the term for someone who has sex with extraterrestrials, as many of us hope to one day. So now, Stephen, we were talking about dreams before this little diversion.
So I have a dream that I documented that I had earlier this week, I believe Sunday or Monday night. And normally,
a recent dream.
I've been reading from a dream journal I was writing 6 years ago. This one's fresh.
All right.
So, and it's quite long, so I'm just going to try and read through it as quickly as I can.
Go for it, and I'll stop you if I have any questions.
Okay. And I typically start everything with "last night I dreamt that," which it wasn't last night, but when I was writing it, last night I dreamt that I was at Big Mac's house. So that's my grandpa, who's now deceased.
All right.
Of course, my grandma Big Mac has been passed away for a while, but my mother, grandmother, aunt, and cousin Leah were all there. I remember waking up around 9 and wandering downstairs, and there was some surprise that I was already awake. Mom was hesitant to inform me, but the ladies all got an invitation to the house of the bishop. This was exciting news for all of them, and it was clear they planned to go and were seemingly trying to sneak out before my brother and I awoke. I said something along the lines of, "Well, that's great, but what are we going to do today?" Because we were in town to visit family, but now we're going to be mostly stranded. I frantically tried to... I can't read my handwriting.
You tried to do something.
Driving the place. Oh, I tried to consider driving to the place, but it was too far as half a day in a car, and the rest of them were flying. I saw a school bus that seemed jazzed about a school trip. Were they going to the house of the bishop too? I decided to lay back down, and perhaps when I woke again, I'd get early Christmas shopping done. I was shirtless. I thought I wrote shitless. I was shirtless and wet, as if I had just dipped into a pool or was sweating profusely. Suddenly, I heard someone walking around the house. I was noticing a few doors open with just screen doors allowing wind to breeze through the home. I froze and waited to see if someone would pop around the corner. An intruder. He ran towards the door. I wish I had grabbed the fire poker earlier when I could have. He stopped and picked up an old stabby sword from off the table and prepared to come at me with it. I was already in close range as I previously was trying to chase him out, but now I was trying to evade. I almost got pushed down stairs as I climbed backwards over the railings and pushed him off of me. Somehow I ended up with the sword, so I was doing well defending myself. He threw a fire poker at me, which I barely had to dodge, so I threw the sword, which impaled him right under his right collarbone. I thought this would chase him out, but instead, a female ally of his appeared with her own dagger. I knew at this point I was outmatched. My thoughts were either run and lock myself in my room with my brother, or put my hands up. Instead, I woke up.
Interesting. So there you are. You're at your grandfather. Let's a quick recap. You're at your grandfather's house. Your grandfather has he passed away in the world of the dream, do you believe? You're just at the house. You do not see him there?
He also passed away in the world of the dream.
All right. And you're there with your family, and suddenly all the women in the family have been invited to go meet the bishop. So they get to go do that, but the men aren't invited. You stay home. Did you say you got to go do something instead?
I was considering doing Christmas shopping because I
Right.
wouldn't have much else to do.
But instead,
So-
you stayed home shirtless and wet.
So, yeah, I think when I was considering driving, I was outside, and that's how I saw the school bus that might also have been going to the airport to go visit the bishop. So I don't know why. Maybe it was hot out and I was sweating, or maybe I had been in a pool, or
I wonder if it's possible you were shirtless and wet the entire dream. Do you remember wearing a shirt at any point in the dream?
no.
Hmm.
So that's just when I noticed I was shirtless and wet, and perhaps I was sweating because of being uninvited or being anxious or not knowing what to do.
It's possible that that might be part of the reason you weren't invited. Consider this, a bishop is a pretty big job. It's an important job, and it's a job that carries a lot of responsibility and a lot of oomph, for lack of a better term. It's a very important position, and many people look up to bishops. They get their wisdom for bishops. It's very important to the church. Folks in the church and folks in the church tend to, well, they tend to value dressing nice. They tend to value being prim and proper. And perhaps you're there, you show up, you're you're shirtless and wet, and you want to go see the bishop too? Well, not dressed like that, mister. Then they think, well, maybe just for the ladies, this one.
Well, except for they didn't know that I was shirtless and wet. Like I woke up and they were about to sneak out and like not even tell my brother and I like where they were.
Oh. Now that's interesting. Maybe I missed that in the first telling.
Right. So and
they're trying to sneak away.
Right, like they were gonna be gone when my brother and I woke up. Not even saying, "Hey, we're doing these plans without you." But maybe I would have been profusely sweating anyways because that's the way I was in the dream. Maybe that has something to do with not being invited, but I don't know. You're the guru.
I've got a theory, and we'll get to it in a minute, but just to wrap up the dream, so you're at home, you're wet, you're shirtless, and then all of a sudden you are attacked. An incredible fight scene occurs between you and a strange man and you've got a fire poker, and you're just about to win until his female companion shows up, and you realize at that point you're outnumbered and outmatched.
Well, and I think it's because his female ally arrived with a dagger in hand. I felt like that was the fighting person in their little duo, and he was more of a sneaky person.
You're
because he
right. He
was
was mostly there to subdue you, and she was the surefire get.
well, he was the one sneaking around the house. But then when I saw her, I was like, all right, this is the person that's gonna attack me.
All
Because
right.
he had thrown something at me that missed. It didn't seem like he had fighting skills, but when I saw her with a dagger, I was like, okay, I saw trained fighter. And I was like, trained fighter with someone who didn't run away after getting stabbed in the chest. I'm done.
That's right. And you know what? That's a smart move. Here's one I have gleaned from your dreams, Stephen.
Okay.
Here's one I have figured out. We are likely somewhere in the present day. Well, I'm not sure if your grandfather still has this house or your family has access to his house, but the fact that he is gone in both suggests that the dream you are uh, telling happens sometime around the present, is fortuitous of something that may happen in the future, but this is definitely not an event of the past. What I am able to discern is that your family, perhaps specifically the women of your family, are involved in some vast conspiracy. There is something very secret. There is a big family secret that they do not want you to find out about. This is something that they have been working to keep a secret for a long time. And it's very possible that in the near future, you may find yourself in a situation where you are encountering this secret. You are encountering your family, getting ready to engage in whatever this secret thing may be. Now, because there is a bishop involved, it says to me that seems to insinuate perhaps there is some kind of supernatural charge to this secret. Perhaps a bishop could perhaps be a stand-in for a more powerful practitioner of magic of sorts. Perhaps they are involved in occult activities. It's hard to say. It could be good. It could be bad. I would not make a judgment without fully knowing the extent of what is going on. But when you discover this, it sounds to me like this is an exposure that will leave you, even though they are the ones whose secrets have been out, something about it will leave you feeling exposed and feeling vulnerable. And it is very important that in this moment of vulnerability, you do not become complacent. You do not sit back and become apathetic. Do not let yourself wonder, oh, well, what is the point if I cannot do this? Because that is when the dangers of whatever they may be involved in are going to spring into action and put you into direct harm. This is the fight that happens at the end of your dream. And this is going to be some kind of struggle related to what has happened, to what has been found out today. You still don't know the extent of it, and you might not at the time, but whatever it is, it's going to leave you feeling vulnerable, and you can't let that get the best of you. That's when you've really got to keep your guard up. That way you cannot be totally subdued. You may make it through this first part of the fight and see your way through into the cliffhanger. But it's important that you take note. I think these two things may be connected. So when you find yourself in that cliffhanger moment, you can say, wait, I know about this. This is happening. Maybe it's their visit to the bishop that is the thing that saves you. Maybe you say, my family is meeting with this person. This person is important, and that is why you cannot slay me tonight. That is my advice to you. Stephen, how do you feel?
Well, I feel vulnerable.
And that's just knowing the secret exists. But remember, you've got to find the moment where you stumble on even more information than just the fact that there is one. Because every family has their secrets.
I mean, I feel like you pointing out the vulnerability that I was experiencing during the dream.
Yes.
Is a very real tie-in to myself personally. I feel like that's the link in the through line for me for what it is between and other parts of my extended family. Interesting.
Yeah,
It's been a long time since I've seen them.
Yes, and perhaps that's part of it as well. They're going off to see the bishop, and you're there, wet and
And
vulnerable,
and and you
and
know,
you're
Thanksgiving's coming up.
experiencing a
I'm thinking
fear of
like
missing out, a
I'm think
FOMO.
right, yeah. Oh, I have huge FOMO. I'm the biggest FOMO person ever. If I have three things I could go to, I'm automatically gonna have FOMOs of two different things. Um,
There's in the comments. Look out, Steven! Somebody's sneaking up
are
behind
you
you.
talking about? Are you talking about Spooky Ghost?
Well, it might be the spooky ghost.
Might be the Spooky Ghost. Good eye,
But
Barefoot and
and I would
52.
say too, given that information you've just shared with us here, it's very possible that what you are experiencing as well, and what is being told to you through this dream, through the language of dreams, is that you are missing your family. You feel kind of out of the loop. They're going to the bishop, and you're feeling vulnerable about it. They're leaving you. You're missing out. You're feeling vulnerable. You're feeling a little sad, and maybe that may put you in kind of a dangerous position in which you've got these fighters in your head going. And to which I'd say, you just hang on there. You just stall because your family's coming back. They're coming back from the bishop. It does not seem, even though they are going without you, even though they tend to be kind of sneaking out in this scenario, it's very unlikely that they would not return.
That's a very good
So
point.
remember that you will be seeing them again.
In
So even
other
though
aspects of life,
yes,
right now, I'm not physically around people,
Mm-hmm.
and then here feeling attacked. That's hey, you're
And
good
that's
at digging through my dreams. This is good. Hey, I'm so glad I finally got one that's real and like pertinent instead of like, well, 6 years ago that might have been helpful.
right. I mean, those ones were real too, but this
Well,
one is a
yes.
little more recent. It applies to what's going on now, and not only does it apply to what's happening in your life, I feel like it likely applies to what's happening in many of our lives. Many of us are isolated from our own families. We're unable to visit them. We're unable to see them. The holidays are coming up. You can't even go see your family for Christmas or Thanksgiving without fear that this disease will catch somebody. It's a frightening time, and you don't get to spend as much time with your loved ones as you might. And so perhaps a lot of people are feeling this. Perhaps a lot of people feel as if their family is sneaking out to see the bishop. And it's okay to find yourself shirtless and vulnerable and wet. But don't spend too long wallowing in it. Remember, they will come back. The family will return from the bishop. You will not be alone forever. I can promise you that. Especially if you use these meditation techniques that Demi Lovato taught us. You can't quite reach your family, but maybe there's a way you can communicate with extraterrestrials beyond the stars through deep and concentrated meditation.
I look forward to having you guide me through more of those meditations to contact extraterrestrial. And thank you for interpreting my dream, Cliff.
Well, Stephen, thank you for sharing your dreams with us. It's a real treat to be able to speak to you about them and to put this service out. And of course, if I'll go ahead and let you go, Stephen. Thank you so much. And of course, if you have a strange dream of your own, of course, we're in the final minutes of the program, so the phone lines are closed for the night, but we do take calls every week where you can call in and share your strange experiences with me, Cliff McCallister, the Czar of the Bazaar. And we offer dream interpretation as well. If you've had your own strange dream and you need some help interpreting it, I am here for you. I don't only listen to Stephen's dreams. We can hear somebody else's dreams one week, so please do not be afraid to call in. If you are Demi Lovato and you're just tuning in, I'm sorry you missed the bulk of the program, but we would love to have you on a future episode. We will talk more about the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind technique and the CE5 app with you. And if Dr. Stephen Greer would like to come on and discuss his own methods, the man who developed this technique, he is welcome to call in as well. And I, of course, will be exploring this more. We'll report back with more information about this app. If you've got your own theory as to what happened on what is going on Mars, what NASA's big secret thing is, go ahead and follow me on Strange Times Indeed on Instagram. In my Instagram stories, I'll be posting a poll. What do you think is happening on the moon? You can comment that and we'll share that in our story. We'll share your answers out to the world. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm always talking about the news of the day and all sorts of things. I'm on Twitter at Strange T Indeed. They wouldn't let me put the full word there because it made the name too long, so we are just Strange T Indeed on Twitter. And if you've got clips, if you'd like to call in, or you don't feel comfortable calling in and you just like to share a story in the written form, you can send us an email at strangetipsindeed@gmail.com. Again, that is strangetipsindeed@gmail.com. There it is, right there on the screen. Go ahead, take out a pen, write that down. strangetipsindeed@gmail.com. What a catchy jingle. Of course, this show, as every episode of Strange Times Indeed is dedicated to the Maryland Ensemble Theater, the only theater with the guts to put us on the air. They've got all sorts of things going on. They're wrapping up the first production of their season of surprises with Victory is Within Our Grasp. They've got a Sweat for Met 5K happening this weekend. You can learn all about that and donate to support the theater at marylandensemble.org. Thank you so much to everybody who called in, or, well, nobody really called in except for Stephen, but thank you so much to Stephen, our technical director. Not only does Stephen call in and he shares his dreams, but he's also the technical director for the theater and the technical director for this show. You see how nice this show looks? He didn't build this, but when you see every little transition, every blip that happened, the whole layout of this thing, he put that together. He's the reason things look so nice. So be sure to give him a round of applause. There's a Spangler, our sweet little boy. Snallygasters, all sorts of the Megalodons. Whoa, Stephen. Thank you so much for your hard work. Now be sure to tune in next week. The week of Halloween, we will be wrapping up our own 4-part bi-weekly series, Who Killed Marilyn? What better way to get ready for Halloween with the conclusion of solving a crime? The Murder of Marilyn Monroe. We've been exploring this book 2 chapters at a time, and we are about to reach the final part. If you follow me at Strange Times Indeed on Instagram, I've been reading each chapter live on Instagram Live, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled there. You can go back and listen to past chapters of the book at that feed. And as well, of course, on Monday, when NASA makes their big announcement, we're going to try to go on Instagram Live. We're going to watch the thing live on our computers. And we'll watch it together, so be sure you can tune into that as well. And that's just about it for our show tonight. Thank you, everyone who called in. We may do a special show on Halloween. We'll be sharing more information about that next week when we conclude Who Killed Marilyn. That's going to be Thursday, 9 o'clock. And if you've got theories, feel free to call in. For tonight's episode of Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, I'm Cliff McCallister, the Czar of the Bazaar. Stay strange, terrestrials.